ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिमाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वर्स् 168 पटरूपेण संस्थानात् पटस्तन्तोर्वपुर्यथा सर्वरूपेण संस्थानात् सर्वमस्य वपुस्तथा 169 तन्तोः सङ्कोच विस्तार चलनादौ पटस्तथा अवश्यमेव भवति न स्वातन्त्र्यं पटे मनाक्. So we are discussing Antaryami Brahmanam and discussing the Antaryami, but through Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Antaryami Brahmanam, there the definition of Antaryami has been given as Yah sarveshu bhuteshu tishthan sarvebhyah bhutebhyah antarah yah sarvani bhutani na viduhu yasya sarvani bhutani shariram यह सर्वाणि भूतानि अंतरो यमयति एषते आत्मा अंतर्यामी अमृतः etc. It's a 15th mantra in the 7th section of the 3rd chapter in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Anyway, so that what is it says, it defines antaryami as ya sarveshu bhuteshu tishthan. This antaryami is in everything. Antaryami is everywhere. And how is it situated? Sarvebhyah bhutebhyah antarah. So he resides in the as the innermost essence of everyone, essence of everything. So it's the innermost principle as upadana karanam. And third thing is, well, yes, sarvani bhutani naviduhu. Well, he is not available. This antaryami is not available for perception. It is not perceptible. And then, yasya sarvani bhutani shariram. And all these bodies are basically his body. He doesn't have his separate body, no independent body. All our bodies are his body only. So actually we share the body with him. Not he is sharing the body with us. So, but we are sharing the body with him. He is a owner. We are trustees, etc. Yes, sarvani bhutani antaraha yamayati. Sarvani bhutani antaraham. That's because he is the one who is the innermost controller. That's part we are right now seeing. In fact, we completed that part, but I am reminding because after 3 days we are doing. So that says here, the antaryami is the inner essence. That is Ishvara basically controls every movement of the jiva. How does he control? He doesn't have reins. He controls through the karana shariram, in which all the karmas are there. So Bhagavan releases the appropriate karma gradually. Like, so, as I gave you example of a medicine, sustain, release, etc. Like that, Ishvara releases through the karma, through the karana shariram, the karmas, etc. And so because he is a samashti karana prapancha chaitanyam, and therefore he releases the prarabdha karma. And well, the sanchita is there in the karana shariram. That is, the sanchita is not in karana shariram. There is no shariram actually. Other than physical body, the other two bodies have no form. Subtle body has no form. Subtle body is a conglomerate, basically. If subtle body has a form, means it will be difficult thing. Suppose subtle body has a human form. Let us think that way. Then after living, right, this gross body, how will it fit into a elephant's body? Because it is a form of a human body. So it is a conglomerate. We call it shariram because shiryamana svabhavatvad. We have seen in that Atma and Atma Viveka also. In Karana Shariram also is also this conglomerate of all vasanas and karma, sanchita, etc. That's all. And of course avidya upadhi. Because Brahman has condition, Brahman identified with the Karana Shariram means Brahman identified with the sanchita karmas and vasanas through avidya upadhi. Brahman having avidya upadhi is this jiva. Who is a big, he is anadi. Because avidya is anadi. So jiva is anadi. And therefore, well, definitely many janmas, being anadi, several janmas, several vasanas, several karmas, all put together is Karana Sharira. So it is some kind of a dravyam, some material is there, which definitely generates Sukshma Sharira. And therefore, Karana Shariram is there. But it is not, don't think that about means some kind of a form, etc. No. Anyway, so basically this, the Sanchita is there. And so Prarabdha Karma, from Sanchita, well, it is released. So through Karana Shariram, which is Sanchita, part of this karmas are released, becomes Prarabdha Karma. For that, to enjoy that Prarabdha Karma, basically, whatever, to experience Prarabdha Karma, you need both the things. To experience, you require a sadhanam also, instruments, and you also require a abode, both. So Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira have to be generated. And so Karana Shariram becomes a Karanam for these two Shariras. Anyway, so this is how, and it was a nice question that, well, Karana Shariram generates, basically, that's, Karana Shariram generally means Karana Shariram is Upadana Karanam, it's Upadana Karanam. But basically we should understand that Karana Shariram is a part of Karana Prapancha, Maya. And therefore Maya's Tamoguna only manifest depending upon the vasanas and the karmas present in the Karana Shariram of a jiva. Karana Shariram basically is a potential condition of a jiva, right? So Brahman, conditioned by the Karana Shariram is Brahman, that is called potential jiva, unmanifest jiva. That manifest, when the subtle body manifests, well then Chidabhasa also manifests, we call manifest jiva. And of course gross body also will be there. And so anyway, so Prarabdha basically is gradually released from the Sanchita. And gradually, because all karmas cannot be released, simultaneously. It has to be released gradually at appropriate time. And vasana is also released because that is also part of Karana Shariram. And so, well, and that is why we have seen that the jiva, basically, who is this karta bhokta, definitely. So vasana influences the karta, and prarabdha influences the bhokta. And so, these vasanas and karmas are well released by Ishvara, not according to his whims, etc., but according to the universal laws of karma. And as even they are released, then the Sukshma Sharira also goes to appropriate condition. You can imagine now. So if the vasanas are released, accordingly desire also will arise from the vasanas. And the condition of the mind also is depending upon his karma. So and those vasanas may be good vasanas, bad vasanas, etc. all due to that guna. That is also karma. The condition of the mind, because mind is the avidya basically, or the santakkaranam, let's say the upadhi of the jiva, is a malin sattva. So then definitely out of the three gunas, which guna will arise? Depending upon karmas and vasanas only. So that is which is because that's a karanam for ultimately antakkaranam or sukshma sharira. And so sukshma sharira also undergoes appropriate condition depending upon the karmas and vasanas released. And then sthula sharira definitely undergoes appropriate condition. And so therefore sthula sukshma sharira abhimani chaitanyam, that is a jiva in a manifest condition, is controlled by this karana sharira. And the karana sharira is a part of karana prapancha. And karana prapancha abhimani chaitanyam is Ishvara, antaryami. And therefore antaryami basically controls this jiva, who is in manifest condition, of course. And so that is how antaro yamayati. And so yaha sarvani bhutani, all the jivas are yamayati, basically are controlled by this Ishvara, who is antaraha, inner control. Inner means we can understand now through karana sharira, which is antara, which upadana karanam is considered inner. We have seen that also, how the karanam is inner, etc. So ultimately headquarter to release is this Ishvara basically. And where is he sitting? No, in the karana shariram he is there. If he is a karana prapancha abhimani, if he is a karana prapancha abhimani, means he has the I sense in the entire karana prapancha. And therefore he has a I sense in every karana shariram also. He is right there. Consciousness is right there. He has not to see it somewhere else. And therefore he is there in the karana shariram. And as antaryami. And therefore definitely, but Swamiji, prajna is there. The karana sharira abhimani chaitanyam is prajna. That is avidya. Okay? That's avidya. And that Ishvara antaryami has not that kind of avidya. Through maya upadhi, he is having a maya upadhi, and so he is sarvajna. He doesn't have that sense that, well, I am different from this karana sharira or that karana. In all karana shariras he has I sense. We have I sense in one sharira, okay? And he has I sense in all. Please understand all this, because you people are very smart, I know, and therefore you are going to question me. Where karana sharira abhimani chaitanyam is prajna, but that is due to avidya upadhi. Otherwise, if you want to say in a empirical reality, is all antaryami, right? Is antaryami only. If avidya is not there, Ishvara does not have a sense that, well, this jiva in a potential condition is different from me. Then he is ajnani. If he has a dvaita drashti, that jivas are different from me, then definitely Ishvara, he is not a Ishvara, he is a jiva. Then he is different from one jiva, second jiva, third jiva, fourth jiva, then he will ultimately become a small jiva. Then he is a jiva, not Ishvara. So he has a I sense in the entire potential world, potential universe. Or he has I sense in all the jivas who are sleeping. And those jivas only, well, they, basically get a subtle body and gross body, and they manifest. Of course, consciousness manifests there also. Chidabhasa manifests there. Swamiji, consciousness, Chidabhasa comes into existence where? Chidabhasa does not come into existence. If Chidabhasa comes into existence, Jiva has a birth. We cannot be called Anadi. So Chidabhasa is all the time there. Consciousness is all the time there in potential condition. We have discussed, I think, in previously. Consciousness basically, it is, he identifies with everything, means he has a I sense in all, and therefore definitely, it's not that consciousness manifest in a particular medium, avidya, at a given time. No, avidya is anadi. Consciousness is also anadi, and consciousness is all pervading, and therefore Chidabhasa is all the time there. Therefore, karana sharira abhimani chaitanyam called prajna is anadi. And therefore that Chidabhasa which is unmanifest, due to the medium is unmanifest, karana shariram or avyaktam, and then it manifests into a subtle body. Well, in buddhi itself it manifests. Now it is, we call manifest jiva, manifest Chidabhasa. And therefore it is all the time there. Unmanifest or manifest, it is jiva, Chidabhasa only. So consciousness conditioned by sukshma sharira is a jiva, but that is in manifest condition. Same, all the jivas go into unmanifest condition. That's a pralaya. That's called maya. And so maya abhimani chaitanya, maya karana prapancha abhimani chaitanya. From there the whole subtle world and the gross world comes out, and subtle body, etc. also is part of that. Gross body is part of that. So basically the headquarter Ishvara is right there in a karana shariram. And therefore through karana shariram karmas and vasanas according to the law of karma. Yeah, he is in the form of a law. So those are released, and accordingly Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira also will have appropriate condition depending upon the karma and vasanas. All, in fact, vasanas lead to desire, desire leads to karma, karma phala, and karma phala is considered favorable, unfavorable. Again, vasana, due to vasanas, all ultimate, he is all the time controlled by Antaryami, Jiva. Anyway, we'll have to discuss then this free will, etc. also, right? This is all God's will right now to, when they are released, karmas and vasana, but we'll have to discuss later. Anyway, we'll be discussing in verse 177. I told you also, I think, last time. And so, I am moved by my Karana Shariram, and you are moved by your Karana Shariram, etc. Means whatever movement is seen in the subtle body and in the gross body, all depending upon the Karana Shariram. And that Karana Shariram, the Ishvara is, Antaryami is present there. And therefore, ultimately, so Prajna and Antaryami, right? Prajna is born of avidya, please understand. Yeah, same consciousness. That is how when it manifests, it has been told Mahavakya. Yeah, that you are not a Jiva, and therefore you are Ishvara. So what is there is just Ishvara. And of course, names and forms are mithya, and so you can say, all Karana Sharira mithya, or Maya is mithya, Karana Prapancha is mithya, same thing, no problem. No, Swamiji, Ishvara also is mithya. We want to make Ishvara mithya. Okay, make it, no problem. But it's an empirical reality. Please understand, mithya means it is not going to be zero. It will be there all the time. And therefore, Shiva and Shakti all the time are there. One mithya and second is Satyam, etc. Whatever you want to say. Nothing to worry about. From the standpoint of a Shakti, it is Upadana Karanam. Parmeshwara is Upadana Karanam, called Parmeshwari. And from the standpoint of a Purusha, Nimitta Karanam. That's called Ishvara, Parmeshwara. Same thing. So either you worship Ishvara in form of a Parmeshwari or in form of a Parmeshwara. Either way, it's the same thing. Same thing. From one standpoint, there's an Upadana Karanam, one standpoint, Nimitta Karanam. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. That's how Dakshinamurti is, Shiva and Shakti both united. It's there. Anyway, so that part you please leave it, all the time. Maya also, I want to make Maya also. If Maya and Ishvara Srushti, whatever is there, is not going to go away. Only above what has been generated by Avidya here, called Jiva Srushti, all that notions which are born of ignorance, that will go away. Ishvara Srushti will remain. That's how Prarabdha will remain. That's how Jivan Mukta also has a Prarabdha. Prarabdha is a Ishvara Srushti. Never think Prarabdha is a Jiva Srushti. Prarabdha is a Ishvara Srushti. He is a Karma Phaladata. And so he has given the body. This body is a Prarabdha. Body is not Maya Srushti. Body is a Ishvara Srushti. So this whole thing will remain. That's how we say Prarabdha also will remain. And Jivan Mukta's body will be there, and it's good. It's really good, right? If body will perish, then what will happen? You imagine. There will not be any teacher available. By the time, there will not be any moksha. There will not be any moksha. One who has become free has gone. And therefore, later people they suffer because nobody is there to teach them. But the person who is enlightened, his body has fallen. Because Prarabdha also, you said, Sarva Karmani, basically all these karmas will definitely go. Anyway, we'll discuss this I think in Mundaka also that topic is there perhaps. So then I will have to repeat again and you will be bored. So let us drop it. So Tantoho here, now to explain this part, how Karana Sharira basically controls the Jiva, who is identified with the subtle body and gross body. Subtle body, gross body, Karyam. And therefore always Karana basically controls the Karyam, and therefore to explain that example has been given. Tantoho sankocha vistaram chalanadau pate tatha bhavati. So when the thread of a cloth basically, which is thread is a Karanam and cloth is a Karyam. So wherever the thread moves, then the cloth also moves, because we are holding on to the thread. There is no substance called basically cloth. Anyway, so here it says the cloth also has a similar condition. sankocha. Sankocha means basically, folding. Let's say vistara, unfolding. So you say, well, a cloth is unfolded, cloth is folded, but actually tantus are only. So when the tantus are folded, cloth automatically gets folded. When the tantus are unfolded, cloth is unfolded. And therefore, then afterwards, okay, and sankoch vistar chalanadu. So, well, the thread moves, cloth also moves. Pate swatantram nasti. And therefore, pata, the cloth, the karyam, has no independence. Manakapi. Vidyaranyana Swami says, manakapi. Not even little bit also. It's an indeclinable, what I told you, I think. So, the cloth has no freedom at all. And whatever the condition of the cause, the thread, that is the condition of the cloth. Anyway, and so it's a very, very, very serious question now, really. This, what about the free will of the human being, is a very big question now. Because all that is Antaryami Ishvara, only his will is functioning. And the law of karma is basically an order. And that is also manifestation of Ishvara. And therefore Ishvara's control. You say Ishvara also, Antaryami also releases the karma and vasana as per the law of karma. But the law of karma is not separate from Ishvara. And so it is also order. The order means a cause-effect relationship. Please understand that. Order means sometimes we feel, what is that order? Order means a rule, law. A law means here a relationship of a cause-effect. Relationship of like action-reaction, etc. Nothing to worry. Sometimes we feel, what is this order? Order means a law. Law means a cause-effect relationship. And here it's a law of karma, basically, definitely. And so, as per the law of karma, the karmas are released from the karana shariram, sanchita, etc. Vasanas are released from the same storage called karana shariram, and depending upon karma, etc. And that he is explaining now. Here he has explained, our example. Now in the next verse, he is explaining our Dashtanta also. With Ishvara also, it is the same thing. Ishvara is a karanam, and well, jivas are basically like karyam, and therefore they are also controlled. So he will explain that now. तथान्तर्याम्ययं यत्र यया भासनया यथा विक्रियेत तथा वश्यं भवत्येव न संशयः. So, what was said in the example in the previous shloka, well, now it is extended for Ishvara also. Here Ishvara is a karanam. There in example, tantu, thread is a karanam. And so let's compare. So what is comparable to Ishvara, the karanam? Well, Ishvara is comparable to the thread now in the example. And in what way? Well, Ishvara is compared because Ishvara is as a karana shariram. And therefore, and it is inherent in all of them. Being a karanam, it is present in all of them. And all, Swamiji, Ishvara is a karana prapancha abhimani. Yeah, karana prapancha abhimani. All karana prapancha includes all karana shariram. And therefore, Ishvara pervades all karana shariram. And therefore, basically, Ishvara, which is a karana shariram, is present is inherent in all of them. Naturally, is a karanam. Okay, what is karyam? Jivas consisting of the sthula sharira and sukshma sharira are karyam. Basically. So, jivas in the potential condition. When I say karana shariram, well, definitely karana sharira abhimani chaitanyam, prajnas. You can take that way. Yeah. So, here when we say upadhi, because why you now from karana shariram you have gone to prajna immediately. Why you are doing like this? Because no upadhi is away from consciousness. What can we do? Never. And therefore all the time Chidabhasa is there. So even if I say, I think I said once, even if I just mention karana shariram, you have to take it karana sharira abhimani chaitanya. Chidabhasa will be always there. The prajna is always there. When I say antakaranam, can you think of antakaranam without Chidabhasa? Or let's say, can you think of a condition, some time or any condition in which antakaranam is there, but still there is no Chidabhasa, there is no reflection of consciousness? Never. Never. And therefore, when I say just that buddhi or sukshma shariram, you have to take it reflected consciousness. Along with consciousness, you have to take it. Because it is a big words, Sukshma sharira abhimani chaitanya, karana sharira abhimani. Then so need not. Just karana sharira. And the difference between Karana Sharira, this what I would like to tell here is Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanyam is Antaryami. Karana Sharira Vishishta Chaitanyam is Prajna. That's all it is. So Karana Sharira Vishishta Chaitanyam. Vishishta Chaitanyam means basically, the consciousness identified with the Karana Sharira and takes himself or herself, whatever. Itself takes itself to be having certain attributes of the Karana Sharira is attributes of itself. That's called Prajna. Prajna is having a Sanchita. Prajna is having all vasanas. Prajna means basically Prakarshena Agnya. Prajna is ignorant. So ignorance also basically identifies with karmas. It identifies with vasanas. It identifies, etc. That's called Prajna. That may be due to avidya only, of course. And Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanyam. Well, basically, so the consciousness conditioned by Karana Sharira. Not identified. Yeah. So like I give you example, pot space, suppose. The space conditioned by the pot. So basically, it doesn't have any attributes of the pot. Well, space basically, so Gata Upahita Akasha is nothing but Mahakasha because he has not identified. Still it is Akasha only. If it identifies, then the attributes of the pot, etc., the shape of the pot is a shape of the space. But that's not. So not identified. So Gata Upahita Akasha Mahakasha hai. Gata Vishishta Akasha, that is Gata Akasha, like a Jiva. Okay? So this is how it is. And therefore, same thing. So Gata Upahita Chaitanyam is Antaryami. Consciousness basically appears in that Karana Shariram, reflected in the Karana Shariram, but not identified. Why? Why Antaryami is not identified? It is due to ignorance. So basically, Ishvara does not take himself to be a Karana Shariram. Ishvara does not take himself. But Ishvara must be taking as himself as a Karana Prapancha. Then he must be taking as a Karana Shariram also. But he is not taking Karana Prapancha also as himself. He doesn't have, but you say he has a eye sense. You can have an eye sense. Even every Jnani has eye sense in the body. That's an empirical reality. Okay? It is not, he knows the Maya is a mithya. He is not under the spell of Maya. Maya is Mayavi, it is. Mai. Yeah, we have seen that. Maya asya vashe vartate. We are under the spell of the avidya. And therefore, we never take ourselves to be consciousness. That's a problem. And therefore, wherever we appear, we take it as oneself. Because I don't know myself. So I am under the spell of avidya. And therefore I take myself as a jiva, as prajna or tejas or whatever. And Ishvara, well, he has an eye sense in everything through Maya, but he knows the Maya is a mithya. That's my achintya shakti. And therefore Ishvara does not have that sense. Please understand. So he does not identify with any body. He appears in all the Karana Shariram, which is called Karana Prapancha, Maya, etc. So Gata Upahita Chaitanyam, So Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanyam. Upahita means, well, Karana Sharira is a Upadhi. That is how it is Upahita Chaitanyam. Karana Sharira is a Upadhi. But it is Upahita Chaitanya means the Upadhi could not superimpose its attributes in consciousness. That's called Upahita. And Upadhi Vishishta Chaitanyam. Karana Sharira Vishishta Chaitanya means Upadhi has as though superimposed attributes. Why as though? Because consciousness is consciousness. Whether you take yourself with the attributes or without attributes, it is always without attributes. Okay? And therefore, that is how the same jiva, when from the potential condition comes to the manifest condition, he is addressed with a Mahavakya that you are Brahman, same Brahman without attributes. Yeah, Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. So you are free from all attributes. Could you follow what I am saying? So consciousness basically did not follow. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So see, understand this. Let's, because this topic is a little bit terse, little bit terse. Yeah. Anyway, if we get a chance of studying the Mandukya, well, will these things become more clear there. But anyway, what I want to convey is basically all the prajnas, all the jivas in potential condition are there in pralaya. That is Maya. That's Maya. Okay? And that all the jivas who have identified with that particular Karana Shariram. Why particular Karana Shariram? Because that Karana Shariram has a particular Sanchita, particular karmas, etc. and particular vasanas, etc. Avidya Upadhi is there. Due to Avidya, well, ultimately he has a sense of a individuality, and it is in a potential condition. And therefore, all the jivas in a potential condition, which are called prajnas, are part of the Karana Prapancha. Okay? And that is Maya. And well, this Maya Adhipati Ishvara ultimately has, since the Maya itself is non-separate from Brahman, well, which we call along with this Maya Upadhi we call Ishvara. So Ishvara has definitely pervading all the Karana Shariras, I mean all the prajnas, and impels them. Every Karana Sharira, he basically, as a Karma Phaladata, he impels. He, since he is the controller of everything, he impels particular karmas and vasanas to get released from the Karana Shariram, from a particular Karana Shariram. And then, well, definitely, automatically, the subtle body also will be having that appropriate condition depending upon the karmas and vasanas which are released from the Karana Shariram. And that is how Antaryami, the Ishvara, controls every jiva in a manifest condition. Every jiva's subtle body, gross body, and the Chidabhasa, of course, it will be there. So that jiva, along with these two bodies, is basically conditioned, controlled by the Ishvara, well, through a individual Karana Shariram. And so certain karmas and vasanas are released. And then definitely, accordingly, subtle body and gross body will undergo a appropriate conditions or appropriate movement, whatever. And so they are controlled. So Karana Sharira controls, but Karana Sharira basically all a part of the Maya only, right? And therefore, and Maya is Maya is, Ishvara is the controller of Maya. So that is how Ishvara controls every jiva through Karana Sharira, individual Karana Sharira. Could you follow that now? This is what I wanted to convey. So all prajnas basically are part of Maya. And by part of Maya, all prajnas are Maya. No, but we have to account for other two gunas also, right? And therefore Sattva guna is there. This is all Rajo guna. Just we said like that. Prakriti has three gunas, and therefore Tamo guna, from that the whole creation has to come, right? This jiva basically should get subtle body and gross body. Who will give them? Who will give them? From where this subtle body will come? And from where this gross body will come? Same Maya only it has to come. Then Maya's Tamoguna only manifest into form of Jagat. And definitely 5 elements, etc. And those 5 elements definitely give subtle body and gross body also, depending upon karma and vasanas, which are there in potential condition. But who gives? Karma Phaladata gives. Antaryami only gives. And later, after giving, now the condition throughout the life of that jiva in a manifest condition, right? Now, because he has got a subtle body and gross body, so he has become manifest now. Jiva has come in a manifest condition. And then, definitely, throughout the life, varieties of the situations of the subtle body and gross body is due to karma and vasanas, which are there in his Karana Sharira, particular Karana Sharira. And from there, Karana Sharira only they are released. And the Karana Sharira, well, so Ishvara who is present in the Karana Shariram, because he is a Samashti Karana Prapancha Abhimani Chaitanyam, who is present right there in a Karana Shariram, releases certain karmas and vasanas depending upon the law of karma. So certain jiva has to undergo a certain kind of a disease or some moods, varieties of the moods in the subtle body, desires, everything, emotions, everything are all controlled through Karana Shariram. And where in the Karana Shariram, Ishvara is present. Not that he controls Karana Shariram from somewhere else. He is right there because he is Samashti Karana Prapancha Abhimani Chaitanya. So he is rightly present. He is present in the Karana Shariram itself. He is a Samashti. And therefore, definitely, so through the Karana Shariram, as a Karma Phaladata, he releases certain karmas and vasanas, and that's how subtle body and gross body are also dance to the tune of those karmas and vasanas, basically. So that is how he is controlled. A jiva, now, which is in a manifest condition, of course, is controlled by the Antaryami. Could you follow now? This is clear? I think it is, I hope it is clear now. So anyway, so this, and I was talking about the Prajna and Antaryami, etc. or Ishvara. Mandukya says it is Ishvara, same thing. Antaryami, I told you also, Antaryami, the meaning of Antaryami, it's a synonymous word of Ishvara. Ishvara means a ruler. Antaryami means controller, inner controller. Same thing, it is same thing. Ishvara is a Karanam, Antaryami also is a Karanam. Anyway, and the difference I have already told you is Antaryami, because Antaryami even though he identifies with the Upadhi called Maya, and through that, well, definitely, through all the jivas, through all the prajnas, he identifies, but definitely, this identification is not an identification through avidya. It's not avidya upadhi. Now I think it is clear to you. It is not avidya upadhi. Avidya upadhi means you take this as yourself. He doesn't take it that way. He functions through that, definitely. Like the Jnani functions. Jnani doesn't take that body as a self. But still, for a Vyavahara, well, the body is there, then definitely Chidabhasa also will be there, ego will be there. It's a mithya, basically. Mithya ahankara. He knows very clearly that I am not the body. But he functions. Or like, let's say, the actor functions through the role. He takes whatever the role is that he says as himself only. He will not say that this beggar. He says, I am the beggar. And he will tell in the movie, he will tell definitely. Otherwise, he will be driven out. If he says, this is the beggar. So he will say, I am a beggar. He knows, but I am not a beggar. In spite of I am beggar, I am not a beggar. That's what it is. This is how it is. So, Ishvara also basically takes himself. That's how I say Maya Upadhi. So, Ishvara is a Maya Upahita Chaitanya. Please understand this. Or, Ishvara is every Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanya. Same thing. Right? Clear now? Ishvara is because Maya is consisting of all the Karana Shariras. And therefore, every Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanya, not Karana Sharira Vishishta Chaitanya. Due to avidya identified with the Karana Sharira, and I will say I am ignorant or I am having a karmas, etc. In a potential condition, you won't say. But you can definitely extrapolate this thing. Or I have sanchita, I have so many vasanas, I have unconscious. No? They say I have unconscious. All these things. And therefore, but he won't say. Antaryami won't say. Ishvara won't say that because he doesn't have avidya. So avidya, then you will have this false identification. You take body, mind, sense complex or a Karana Sharira also. Well, in a potential condition, you will not be able to say. Like in deep sleep state, you are not able to say. Right? In deep sleep state, you are not able to say that I am prajna, I am ignorant. When you get up, you may say. Therefore, to say that, well, definitely this subtle body should be there. Definitely. But the subtle body itself is in a potential condition called Karana Sharira, and therefore, the Chidabhasa also will be in a potential condition, Jiva in a potential condition, and therefore you will not be able to say in unmanifest condition. Definitely not. But one knows that Karana Sharira Upahita Chaitanya, Karana Sharira Vishishta Chaitanyam, etc. is there. Prajna is there, we can say. So, It's just a difference of a upadhi between avidya upadhi. The difference of antaryami and prajna is due to avidya upadhi. Now it's clear now. So the difference between subtle world and this Taijasa, means Hiranyagarbha and Taijasa, is due to avidya upadhi. Yeah, I take myself there as a subtle body. I'm part of this basically whole subtle world. And therefore, definitely I have made a part out of the samashti. It's due to avidya, identifying with the body. Same way, well, I am a gross body, and this is gross universe. I have made a division. I am this, and everything is different from me. Well, that also is due to avidya upadhi. Everywhere it is avidya upadhi. If avidya upadhi is not there, samashti, it is only samashti. It is just samashti. That is Ishvara. Anyway, so we'll try to understand slowly all these things, as some topic arises. So anyway, so these are all gradually released. I mean, the karmas and vasanas are gradually released, and so depending upon law of karma, etc. I mean, and we can give another example, like when we plant 5 seeds, basically, mango seed and a coconut seed and all these different seeds. If we plant, all the different seeds sprout at a different time and give fruits also at a different time. Well, they all are governed by basically certain law. And so here also, all karana shariras are nothing but every karana sharira is a sanchita and vasanas. But a particular set of karmas and vasanas arises from a particular karana sharira, and accordingly, well, subtle body and gross body and the chidavasa, the jiva, well, definitely undergoes accordingly change, movement, whatever, appropriate conditions, appropriate experiences, appropriate karmas, yeah, because definitely your vasana influences karta. That's how Pujya Swamiji says no one's free will is basically free. No one's free will is free, really. It's all conditioned by our vasanas, all our ragadvesha basically, which are there in potential condition. Anadi, so many likes and dislikes, all are there in potential condition in Karana Sharira. That's how a child is born, and he likes something and he does not like something. He just comes, he throws it out. Suppose you give a banana. Suppose he likes that, he just takes banana. And if you give another fruit thinking that he likes fruits, but other fruit, if you put even a small piece, it just throws out. So, it's all there ultimately. I'm trying to connect and give you the whole picture that this is how the things are. Basically, Ishvara also, through the law of karma only, definitely, releases the karma and vasanas, etc. So, yantaryami yatra vikriyate, the antaryami vikriyate. Antaryami also functions or act according to the law of karma. And now, so how does he function? What does it do? So, it says here, yatra, these vasanas are released. Let's see, according to karma, but vasanas, he's talking about vasana right now. If you see, 3 things are there here. See, tatha antaryami ayam antaryami yatra yaya vasanaya yatha vikriyate. So, antaryami functions by releasing the vasanas. Yatra. Yatra has a 2 meaning. The 7th case, yatra means tral pratyaya, has a 2 meanings. Yatra means yasmin kale, at a given time, or yatra means yasmin deshe, at a given place. Yeah. So, antaryami function, vikriyeta, this Ishvara functions as an inner controller through releasing vasanas. Yatra, at a given place, at a given time, certain vasanas are released. And yaya vasanaya means a certain type of vasanas are released, right? So many are there. It's all storage. So, in a given place, at a given time, a particular type of vasanas are released by antaryami. That is how this is how he functions as an inner controller. That's what he says here. So, And we have seen that. So vasanas basically influences the karta. And Bhagavan also, it said in the 6th chapter, Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. Well, so basically this is very true. In a given life also, you will find a type of vasana, like let's say spiritual vasana. Some adhyatmic samskaras were there of the previous lives. That's what Bhagavan said in the 6th chapter. Buddhi sanyogam labhate. So, those certain adhyatmic samskaras are there. They are not released from the day one when the child is born. At a given period of time, after 20 years, 30 years, or even in some people's case after 50 years also. In some person's case, it may be at the age of 6 or 7 also. Who knows? Like in Ramana Maharshi's case, at the age of 7 or 8. He thought about death and everything, and he thought, well, I'm not the body, etc. The death occurs to the body. How can an 8-year-old child can think like that? I just can't think, really. It's a very amazing thing. After studying all this, still we feel that I am going to die. This COVID is going to get me only. So all the time afraid. After several, I am not subject to time, No. And the boy of 8-year-old, not undergone any kind of a study or something. And so this is how it is. Vasanas released of the previous life. Spiritual vasana here, of course. And I tell you another thing. I have seen also, and you must have also seen. Person was initially a very, very spiritual person. Study and everything. And writing notes, everything, very sincere. What happened, I don't know. After the age of 40 or 45, he gave up everything. Everything means everything. Even the name Upanishad he doesn't want now. You might have seen, or I don't know, but one of my friend, he had left forever Vedanta. Left forever. This is how it is. He's there in India. But I tried to convince, but he's not convinced now. So it's another type of vasanas. This thing happened. So why you are saying yes? No, I'm saying that yatra yaya vasanaya. Yaya means a type of vasanas also released at a particular time, at a particular place. And that shows a function of Antaryami. Ishvara's function. He is releasing. A releaser is there. Then, but his whims, according to his whims, no, law of karma. According to law of karma. Anyway, so person becomes from materialistic person, he can become a spiritual, or from spiritual, he can become materialistic also. Anyway, so this is all. One can become extrovert or introvert, etc., depending upon the vasanas released, etc. So you can see how the jiva is controlled. Jiva is controlled through the vasanas released, right? And accordingly, his subtle body will have those vasanas because now in the manifest condition, and accordingly he behaves, gross body will definitely follow it. And so the person is totally under the control. And also, yatha means in a different manner. So method of manifestation of the vasanas also vary. Type of vasanas, a place where it is released, a time where the vasanas are released, and a manner in which the vasanas are released. Yatha means indicating a manner. Thal pratyaya indicating a manner. Yena prakarena is equal to yatha. Tatha means tena prakarena. In that manner. Yatha, in which manner, etc. Means a type of vasana. So method of manifestation also will be varying. Whether it's sometimes suddenly vasana is released. Person becomes within few days he change. We feel something has happened to him, but nothing happened. But he feels some people feel that everything is ultimately is all appearance. There is nothing, no essence in the creation at all. No pursuit has any essence. While moksha only is a pursuit, Ishvara only is a goal of life, etc. Suddenly. So this is all. Yatha means in a manner. Sometimes a sudden eruption of vasanas is all karma. It's all karma. Karma and vasanas have they go together. We cannot We cannot, that's how I always say this prarabdha and purushartha, please don't make any difference right now. Means there is a difference. In a given situation which arises, well, due to prarabdha, when that is karma. And the manner in which you respond in that situation is a purushartha, that depends upon your vasana. As a karta, well, you are influenced by vasana. As a bhokta, you are influenced by karma. That's how it is. And so they go together. They go together. It's a part of one karana shariram. They are all there. And by part, Swamiji, because avidya is there also. So avidya is a main thing, and that's how all the sanchitas and everything is there. Avidya anadi, sanchita anadi, and vasanas anadi, everything anadi. And now avidya and karmas and vasanas and how all this relationship, how Swamiji they are related. Avidya anadi means karma anadi. Avidya anadi means vasanas anadi. How do you say that? Well, go through our chart of a Atmanatma Viveka of a page 2. You will find the whole connection. How avidya leads to the body, and then karma and karma phala and vasanas and all this ragadvesha. That all the time I can't tell. Okay? So tatha vikriyate. So antaryami also act accordingly. Depending upon the law of karma, he releases the vasanas at a certain meaning, particular place, particular time, particular type of vasanas, and also and basically, type of vasanas and in manner. Well, sometimes suddenly or sometimes gradually. Some people get a spiritual interest suddenly, and some people slowly. After 10 years, first lecture at the age of 40, and now he has got interest at the age of 80, and so 40 years passed to slowly release the spiritual vasanas. So at the age of 80 now he is having a keen interest in Shravanam, etc. But anyway, time is gone now. Anyways, this is how it is. So Antaryami acts accordingly. This is just by the way. You people are so advanced, so I can tell to you all this. People who are outside, well, still they are, in this, not fortunate enough to have this kind of vasanas. So, as the Karana Shariram acts, then definitely, or manifest, or the vasanas manifest, in that manner, Sukshma Shariram is influenced, and of course, Sthula Shariram also is influenced, thoughts are influenced, desires are influenced, and Chidabhas, of course, is there, Jiva is influenced, and therefore, well, and even Jnanis are influenced by this Antaryami. Okay? And therefore, certain Jnanis feels like withdrawing, and sitting in a cave. And another Jnani, well, goes around the globe and spread the teaching, etc. One Jnani, well, writes and writes and writes. Write-o write. Write-o write. 12,000 verses. 12,000 verses on one Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Sureshwaracharya. Brihadaranyaka Vartikam. 12,000 verses. You imagine, to study itself will require 3 lives, I think. And so, right-o right. Anyway, and some Jnani like Taponji Maharaj, etc. says, well, I don't want anything. So Jnanis also, and I will remind you now, which we have already studied, Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrutehe jnanavan api. Sadrusham cheshtate. Sadrusham, in keeping with one's own prakriti, vasanas. Even Jnanavan, Jnanis also go by that. Jnanis also go by their vasanas. So they are also controlled by the Ishvara, basically. They are controlled means what? Jnani is controlled by means what? In Jnani's head, certain thought arises. Is all Ishvara is working right there. Ishvara is working right there. And well, of course, physical body, of course. All follow the law, basically. Physical body is prarabdha, which is part of sanchita. Sanchita means karana shariram. Karana shariram is antaryami. Antaryami controls the karma. And Jnani lives for certain years, not more, right? Everything we know. Now, I should not describe too much, but you know. Even Jnani also, basically, prakrutehe, sadrusham cheshtate. According to one's own vasanas only he. And therefore, whatever he eats, he eats. He likes a certain, Tamil dishes, like certain, old Tamil dishes. And so he eats that only. He enjoys, in fact, that. And whatever else you give, he may not enjoy much. He may take here and there. This is how it is. So, sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrutehe jnanavan. So, jnana is also according to their vasanas of purva janma, etc. Of course, of the present janma also. They are released through antaryami. And that's how one becomes a Mauni Baba. Yeah. Another is a talking Baba. Yeah, not talkative. Talking Baba. Puja Swami says talkative Baba is a different Babas. Our all Swamis are talking Swamis. That's how he used to say. So basically, talking means they have some stuff, not talkative. Anyway, tatha avashyam bhavati. So accordingly. So as the antaryami functions through releasing the vasanas, yaya, yatha, yatra, well, tatha avashyam bhavati. Definitely jiva will definitely has to follow. Means his gross body, subtle body, etc. will definitely functions in that manner. Anyway, so every moment of a jiva, so now it is very simple to understand every moment of jiva, not moment, let's say, every moment of a jiva basically reflects this, antaryami's prerana. Na samshaya. Vidyaranya says there is no doubt at all. And so Ishvara has been explained through these three things, right? Shvetashvatar mantra, and then Mandukya mantra, and this Brihadaranyaka mantra. And then after talking about Antaryami or Ishvara through three Shrutis, Vidyaranya feels that I should give a some Smriti Vakya also. And so a beautiful shloka which you know very well, it's been quoted by, bodily lifted from the Bhagavad Gita and has been quoted here. It's from 18th chapter, you know very well also. Let's read that verse. Ishvaras sarvabhutanam ruddesherjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. Now, so Vidyaranya himself is going to explain this verse later. I mean, from verse 172 to 174. 3 verses he is allotting for explanation of this Smriti Vakya, I mean Bhagavad Gita's verse. And so I mean in 172 he will talk about one word of this verse called Sarvabhutani, and then later other things, etc., etc. So this is how has been, I mean this verse we'll see the explanation, etc. Day after tomorrow, because now time is over. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.